Voltron Network.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the DC versus Marvel podcast, where we talk about the latest DC and Marvel movie news. My name is Uz, and I'm your regular DC fanboy. And once again, in the red corner, representing Marvel Comics, is my boy Ed. How you doing, brother?
And wonderful new Marvel show.
Yeah,
I'm always happy
it's
when there's something new Marvel out there, man.
when there's something. Well, that's like every week, right?
Exactly.
Basically, yeah, exactly. Which is why Ed is always happy, man. So yeah, guys, we have a lot to talk about there this week. We got the first reviews coming out for Morbius. We've got some more Batman stuff, some Star Wars, some Black Hawk, some the Joker scene there as well, and Moon Knight, and whether the Flash is ever going to come out.
What do you mean, Uz? It just got renewed for another season. That's the only Flash I know about.
Exactly, that's the only Flash that everybody knows about, right? So yeah, so that is the thing. So yeah, man, without further ado, let's get into it, man. But before we do that, just very quickly, because we always forget, got a message in from a new listener, a guy called Mahmood. He said that basically he wanted to write. Sorry, I'm going to read this. He wanted to write to us because he listened to his first podcast there, which is the one about Captain Marvel, which I think he means Miss Marvel. I see. Yeah. I assume so, right? Which is basically about Captain Marvel, and he found the banter quite funny. He says one thing you guys didn't pick up on was, being a Muslim myself, if the people who made this are actually Muslim, they wouldn't have given her cosmic powers. And I think that's what you were talking about last time, right?
Yeah.
That's what you were talking about last time. Otherwise, really loving the podcast. We'll definitely have lots of previous episodes to listen to there as well. So yeah, so new listener there, basically, who came after my Miss Marvel rant, basically. So yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, I mean, the cosmic thing is interesting because we've talked about her powers being changed, right? Her power set being changed and stuff. But you know, the interesting thing is that the power set has to be changed to differentiate it from Mr. Fantastic. But it's actually quite offensive to Muslims to basically make it that she's got a cosmic power she can wield. So it's like where do you go? You know what I mean?
Get into that explanation? Oh, it's a long, deep one, isn't it?
It's too long. It's too long, and I'm just gonna say it is what it is. And you know, if you really want us to get into it, then it will do, but not this one. There's too much stuff going on. My most anticipated film of the 2020s, Morbius, has had its first reviews. Has had its first reviews about, and some of the first things that are coming out about this.
It's exactly what we figured it would be, though. Come on, let's be honest. There's no surprises here. It's a mess. Oh man, it's terrible. It doesn't know what it's trying to say.
The thing is, I keep thinking to myself, how does Jared Leto keep getting, like jobs? Right, he keeps getting jobs and stuff, right? Like, you know, he's done some really dodgy performances in the last few years or so, right? I'm gonna click this thing. He's done some really. It's got even worse now, hasn't it? It's got even worse. I'll have to get a cloth somewhere and then clean it. He's basically, his performances are literally getting worse and worse as he goes on. And he used to be quite a decent actor, right?
He's an Oscar winner.
Yeah. As a Oscar winner, as like as a supporting, right, rather than a main actor, but still requires a lot of skill to kind of do it.
Well, when Oscars meant something, not for the most popular moment in a. It's a joke, man. Oscars is a joke.
It doesn't mean something. I wonder why it doesn't mean something anymore when Marvel doesn't win anything.
It never meant. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll tell you what. If Endgame won an Oscar, right, it would be like, oh my god, the Oscars, yeah.
And it wouldn't have been for a category
ever.
of most cheerable moment. Like, that's not a category. That's like some MTV Movie Awards type categories. What has the Oscar become?
It could have been Cinderella, though, right? Which is the thing that we have to kind of.
That is true.
I'm just gonna get a cloth away because this is so smudged. It's like doing my head in now.
Use your shirt.
Yeah. So basically, like the it was because from what we knew, it was going to be Cinderella, right? It's basically like
the lesser of two evils.
It's getting worse. Why is it getting worse? It's getting worse.
For those that are only listening, Mo's trying to Uzi's trying to clean his webcam.
I'm trying to clean the webcam, and it is getting worse and worse as we go along. I don't have any tissues in here. There's some kind of something on the webcam. So should we briefly talk about that?
Okay, go.
Morbius. We'll talk about Morbius first, then we'll go from that. So,
how long has this been delayed? 2 years, something like that.
2 years, yeah, because we had like these bats spreading a virus,
time to sit down and watch what you've made, and to realize this doesn't work. This sucks. Let's shoot it again and fix it. But they didn't.
Which is what they apparently did, and have created the worst post-credits scene in history, right? So basically what people are saying is generally the film is really bad, confusing, makes no sense, pacing is all over the place. Generic. Doesn't know whether it's generic, doesn't know whether it's what is it in the Marvel universe, is it not in the Marvel universe, is it associated with Spider-Man, is it not, whatever. It has no idea what it's doing. But also the ultimate accolade, it has the worst post-credit scene in history according to what these people have seen. So I honestly can't wait to see what that actually is, because it's going to be something. It's going to be cringeworthy, man. It's going to be something so utterly cringeworthy. I'm still going to go see it, man, on Saturday.
That's the thing. Does this succeed and end up getting a sequel purely on people's desperation to watch something in the cinemas? Because there's still it's barely anything shown week to week. So bad films can do good.
It depends, doesn't it? I mean, how much the thing about this is that Sony is so desperate to create that.
I think you messed up your cable.
Universe. Have I messed my cable up?
Yeah, I think it is. Your audio's getting a bit weird.
So the Sony, is it any better now? It's not. Oh dear, what's going on? Have I turned my volume down? Is it any bit different now? No.
Yeah, it'll work. That'll work.
Good enough. That'll work. Wait 1 second. So I don't know what's going on there. I think maybe I just this is what happens when you buy cheap headphones off AliExpress, right? Because your other ones get destroyed by
your kids,
by kids jumping on it. So anyway, the thing is this, right? Sony is so obsessed with trying to create their villain-based universe, right, that they will literally move heaven and earth to try and get it there, right? And it's kind of like, do you think now, like, they've got Morbius, that we've seen scenes of them filming Kraven the Hunter around St. Paul's Cathedral and stuff? Like, what is that going to be?
It's going to be terrible. I have no hopes for Kraven to be any good. Not just because of who they've got playing it, but just Sony, man. I just don't trust Sony when they're left alone. Because even Venom, the second one wasn't great. It was like fine enough, but they kind of stumbled into an okay film with the first one. Like, they just can't really be trusted on their own.
That's the thing. And if you take away all the banter stuff from Venom 1, what have you got? Just this
horrible,
Yeah.
generic garbage film, man. So yeah, I don't know. Morbius looks like it's gonna be horrible, but uh, guys, I love watching crappy films sometimes, right? Just for the entertainment of watching something horrendously bad, because you gotta know what the bottom's like to know what the heights like, right? So
Okay.
it's like, but it's basically like I have me and one of my friends, we have this go-to film that we basically watch before there's any film we're really anticipating. We watch Jackie Chan's The Medallion, right? I love Jackie Chan, but The Medallion is the
Oh
worst.
God, I've never made it through that. I've never made it through that film. I love Jackie Chan, but yeah, I hate anything he does in Hollywood.
The Medallion is the absolute worst. I mean, the tuxedo thing is almost as bad, but this is like so horrendous. So literally, like, if you watch that and then you think any film after that is just going to be better, basically. So especially if it's one thing that you're anticipating. So what going from Morbius, we've obviously had all this stuff going on at the Oscars, which if you wanna hear all about talking at the movies, I'm sure are gonna go into this in depth.
We spoke about it.
In depth.
Yeah.
So there were two. Basically, the Oscars has been very what's the word? Unpopular.
Irrelevant.
For quite irrelevant. That's the word. Yeah, irrelevant for quite a long time, and they've tried to make it relevant by basically putting in, categories that to kind of make people think, okay, maybe we'll watch this because it's a popular film that might win an Oscar and stuff, right? And the funny thing is that when you put anything out to the internet, you're asking for trouble. Right, like I don't know if you remember in the UK, they basically made this new Antarctic scientific boat. This
Say that again, because you're starting to cut out.
They made in the UK, they made this thing which is an Antarctic like vessel, scientific vessel.
Okay.
And they asked the internet, what should we call it? Right, and basically they in the UK, and the unanimous winner was Boaty McBoatface.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. You just can't. We're just too dumb now as a society to be trusted with things like this.
So they basically had to name this scientific ship, which is basically going to check on climate change in the Antarctic and stuff. It's now known as Boaty McBoatface. So if you go and you try and get the internet to do anything, you're kind of like you're asking
for trouble.
And what you're going to do is you're in effect going to activate all the people who are like who live their life in the metaverse kind of thing, basically on the internet, and they will just go, spam the crap out of these things. Kind of like the same way when Justin Bieber's like, oh, where should I go for my next concert? And everybody put North Korea as like, it's like, so that's what's just going to end up happening. And what happened with this is basically those two categories. One of them was the most cheer-worthy moment in cinema, and then the second one was the kind of viewer's choice film. The year or whatever, right? Now, the funny thing is, the viewer's choice one was generally all the voting was quite contemporary, right? Because it's kind of like the last year's kind of stuff. So the leader for quite a long time was the Cinderella film on Amazon Prime, which is crazy, but okay, fine, as a Cinderella film. But the cheer-worthy moment one could come from any kind of time in cinema, right? So
was it that open?
Yeah, it was that open. Have you seen the 5? Have you seen the top 5?
I couldn't watch those.
Okay, so check this out. Number five is Neo in Matrix 1 dodging bullets. That's the number 5 Number 5 most
Oh
cheer-worthy
my
moment
God.
of all
This
time
makes
in
it
cinema.
even more of a distant.
Exactly. I'm surprised you guys didn't talk about this on the
We
movie.
didn't watch the Oscar. We couldn't. It was just horrible, except for the obvious moment, where everyone's seen. Wow.
Number 4 was Beyonce in Dreamgirls singing her final song.
In all of cinema.
In all cinema. In all of cinema. Like literally the whole cinema. Number 3 was Avengers Endgame, Avengers Assemble. Right. Number two was all of the Spider-Man turning up. And number 1 was the Flash activating Speed Force.
No one cheered from that. No,
Exactly.
when did anyone, even if you loved it, when did anyone cheer at that moment? Like, and I enjoyed the Snyder cut, but
yeah,
no,
exactly. Same here. The number 1. I mean, I cheered more when Superman did his first flight. Basically that bit. But basically, yeah. So in the whole of cinema, when you're including Neo dodging bullets, right, to that.
Even the stuff that didn't get, like, nothing from any of the Back to Future films, nothing of the Doc,
nothing
being alive and coming back with a train that can fly, like nothing.
The T-800 getting killed and then coming back to life.
The feet, dude, people, oh my God, yeah, we're done.
People need a slap. And
Chinese were right. We're done.
And then the number one viewer's choice of the year was Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. So in effect, which is horrendous. So in effect, basically, like, you can't let the internet go and do these kind of things. It's absolutely nuts, man. I mean, it could have been Cinderella, which is even worse. Like, the best film of the year. I would have voted that crappy film that I saw, which is where the guy stayed in the loft in his attic for like 9 months.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I got to watch that. I forgot about that.
So that was just bizarre, man. I don't even know how those things have got in. But
yeah,
to be honest, like what I mean, like, cheer-worthy moment, I've got to say, as a DC fan, cheer-worthy moment in Infinity War when Thor comes down into the battlefield in Wakanda. Everybody erupted in the cinema, man. I remember it was just crazy.
I think even bigger moment than that was when Captain America picked up Mjolnir in Endgame. That was a way bigger moment.
And it's just crazy just to say, like, I don't know. People got weird memories, man. But whatever it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
You can't just generally pull it out there on something like, I bet you they had like a TikTok account or just on their Insta. You got to cast it wider, get people from different age groups, put it in newspaper. Like, even then, you can't do it. Just pick the things yourself, and then maybe give 5 that people can choose from or something. You can't.
Maximus and Gladiator, giving it the bigger to, you know what I mean? Come on down, guys. What's the bat with you people, man? Let's go to some pandemic kind of money kind of news. Batman box office seems to have stalled a bit, right? It was accelerated like mad up to like 600, and now it's just there. It's stuck at 600. So the kind of idea is it's probably going to get around 700, probably around the kind of similar levels to what Suicide Squad kind of did. And the main reason is because it didn't really do a great deal in China. Like, China just didn't watch it. Basically, just not.
Oh, it did.
Not
did it come out though?
Yeah, it came out in China, and they are just not interested. It's made like 6 million over there, right? So they're just really not bothered. I know they maybe are going to lockdown again and stuff. But
that is true. They're trying to dealing with a bad third wave, I think, of COVID right now. But also, just within this month that Batman's come out, it's just the world's mad, isn't it? There's, they're not getting the Russian market and a few of the surrounding countries. Yeah, it's just, I guess people choose not to.
So it's done successfully enough to say warrants a sequel, all that kind of stuff there. But in terms of, you know, billion-dollar box office, nah, it's not. It's nowhere kind of near that. So the question is Spider-Man an anomaly, or is Spider-Man, because of the MCU in effect still propping up the cinema, like, you know, because basically, like, you know, you're talking about, okay, Doctor Strange is coming out, like, if that also does crazy numbers, then in effect cinemas are literally being kept open by these films.
Yeah,
right.
Superhero films are the tentpole films now, and I don't expect Doctor Strange to do like $1 billion, but even if it does close to what Batman's done, for Batman, you could consider, oh, that's almost a failure because you kind of feel that it deserves to get $1 billion. But for Strange, that would be amazing.
I think Strange would be 900 plus.
You're going to get that high?
Yeah, I think the time it's coming out, number one, and the hype, and the fact that
it depends on the surprises. We don't really know what a lot of those surprises are yet. So yeah.
So it's like, you know, some people are saying like, they're put in Picard's voice, but it's actually McAvoy.
Oh, okay.
In the chair, right? Because they've asked him and he's been quite coy about it and stuff. So yeah, that is kind of the, you know, the thought process about it. But you know, we'll see what happens. One apparently film that is still coming out though, that, you know, we talked about maybe a year or so ago, is the film Black Hawks, right? Which is basically just not even really a superhero team, but kind of just like
it's like Agents of Shield for DC.
Kind of, but they're more like the Air Force kind
military,
of thing, you know. Yeah, they're
G.I.
more
Joe.
military Air Force. Yeah, G.I. Joe kind of thing. Which is meant to be produced by Spielberg and stuff. But I don't know, when is this thing going to come out? And also, who the hell's going to watch it anyway? You know, God knows.
And the thing is it connected to anything? If it's not, with the way DC films are, then it's just a military movie. Then it's just G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Takes away what's special about it, to be honest.
And then it just becomes, okay, it's Spielberg's first movie in a while, I guess. That's kind of the only thing that it becomes there, basically. So yeah, maybe that will come out. But we've also heard that some news about Blue Beetle. In the Blue Beetle has cast a villain in there, because Blue Beetle's one that's been going on for a while as well, saying like,
I thought
is it going to come out? Is it not coming out? Is it, you know, whatever? So
I thought they were in the middle of shooting it. So how are they only just now in negotiations for the actor to play the villain?
Yeah, it's rubbish. I think they've only just casted people, and that's basically it, pretty much. You know, so they've basically got a new villain. Which is, what did they call her, man? What did they call her? Victoria Cord, right?
What's the history on Victoria Cord?
Doesn't exist.
Nothing. They just made her up.
Doesn't exist in DC canon. That's the jokes, yeah. Wow. So, you know, it's like, you know, sometimes. We're presuming she's the main villain, but she might not be. She might just be someone on the side of whoever the main villain is. Just, you know. Just because it's Sharon Stone, we ain't said that yet, but yeah, it doesn't mean that she is the main antagonist. Yeah, because you know, the last time she was a villain in a DC property, she was so amazing that everybody's like, she must come back again, and you do this kind of thing. But basically, like, the thing is, like, you know, it's weird. Like, they have things like in Game of Thrones where they have a certain number of books, right? And it's after that you got to make up stuff because there's not enough books, right? And it always makes me laugh when they just make up these random characters, because I'm thinking there are like thousands and thousands of books that you could choose from. Just pick one person from it. You know,
they don't want to do their research. They just want to write and make up their own characters.
Yeah, because then maybe, you know, people can't moan about, you know, whatever. But
we're seeing that with the Halo show. Like, a bunch of the writers have admitted that they've never played the game. It's like, Okay, it makes sense.
That's why I asked on on our group, and I didn't really get an answer for it. Is this Halo the same Halo, or is it different?
It's nothing like it's nothing like the game. No, it's a completely different story.
Because I watched it and I was like, wait a sec, because I watched the game, people did play the game, right? The different games, and I watched it, I was like, this is weird. This is not like the game at all. What is this, like, completely different, or is it? I don't know what it kind of is, man.
Completely different.
Completely different. So yeah, it's gonna it's a weird one to kind of do something like that. But from internet's already speculating about what's going on, and some of the things are just hilarious. Like, basically, so we know Ted Cord is the head of Cord Industries, who created the original Blue Beetle suit and stuff. And basically, like, some people were like, yeah, she's like the spurned ex-wife who hates Blue Beetle because it's like, I want the money and I'm basically gonna destroy this company because I hate Ted so much. But it'll be, yeah, I don't know if they can do something like that, but it would be.
Wasn't that the plot in season 1 of Ted Lasso, the woman that owns a football team? She's gonna destroy the ex-husband's team.
Yeah. That's what they should. Yeah, that's what they should do. But Ted Cord, I don't know, he's gonna show himself in this or what? I have no idea, man. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting thing to kind of see, man. So, we should have talked about this when we're talking about the Batman stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but we decided to drift slowly away. But yeah, come on. Joker.
Well, the scene that Matt Reeves kind of just, he shot, and also it was talked about actually that there was a Joker scene in there, and then test audiences had seen it, and then they were kind of like, nah, just leave it out or whatever. And it's interesting to me because it looks like very much like they're going for that Mindhunter vibe, where it's like, let's go and talk to this serial killer to find out what this other serial killer is doing.
Silence of the Lambs, definitely, when she's talking to Hannibal to get his, his perspective on the killer. And yeah, I'm in two minds about it. On one, as a scene on its own, just judging it as a scene as for filmmaking, very good. I liked it. But then on the other part of me is judging the Joker, and I'm like, that Barry Coogan.
Irish name.
Barry, just going Barry. His take on the Joker, and I'm like, it's such a specific thing, man. I've kind of had my Joker. I guess everybody has their own, so it's all subjective. But and this sort of weird zombified, disfigured, not zombified, but I mean just in his flesh being eaten up and just the crazy scars. Like, you can see that this is like a falling in chemicals type Joker.
Yeah,
just melted and
he's definitely fallen in chemicals.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not sure about his look or the sound. Like,
he's quite young, and it's I mean, I kind of found it interesting because I was thinking, okay, fine, so this is his first mission, and this is how he basically became friendly with Gordon, because basically they must work together to catch this serial killer guy and put this serial killer guy away. And now obviously there's a second one now, and it's kind of like, okay, fine, they're trying to catch this guy, and obviously they're now together in that in that kind of thing. The reason why I'm also in two minds about it is because of all the news that just keeps coming out about Ben Affleck's film, and just what they could have done and stuff. And I kind of, I've seen Batman twice now, and I really liked the second time there as well. The second time when I was watching it, I was kind of like, I felt, it was weird. I felt a little tinge of sadness inside when I was kind of watching it.
What could have been?
Yeah, because I kind of felt like, okay, that's great. I love the Batman. I want to see more Batman stuff. But this is just going to be just Batman. There's going to be two more, then that's it. Finished. It's not like there's going to be a Nightwing that jumps to this, a Batgirl and a whatever. It's literally just contain Batman. That is it. Done. Finished. And I kind of think to myself, like, also, this has no room for if there was a Deathstroke walking around Gotham, he'd stick out a mile, because a dude with a massive sword literally going around, it will look odd. And that's why I like when Reeves is saying about, about Mr. Freeze and stuff. I'm kind of thinking, okay, I wonder how he's going to put Mr. Freeze into this, because it's going to be a fantastical element in this.
But they would take that away though. It wouldn't be. It would just be. They'll just science it up, so it wouldn't really. It wouldn't have the dome where he's breathing the cold air. Like, it would just be a guy just using some sort of science contraptions to
freeze stuff, basically, to like freeze everything. So yeah,
that is the thing, because there isn't room for the supernatural elements in this. So no Clayface. I wanted Clayface to be brought to the live action screen for so long, and it's just never gonna happen.
Yeah, and that just I kind of always, this is the problem, because that's why I felt the tinge of sadness, because I was like, okay, this is the cycle now, right? So we're going to get another Batman reboot in 20 years from now, because
8 years.
Well, 8 years, I guess, but basically you've got a couple of years time, there's going to be the next one, and then the next Batman film, and then a couple of years is going to be the next Batman film. So then after that, how long are they going to wait? 5-6 years or so after that there. So it's going to be a long time until we're going to see something that maybe is a fantastical version there of it, and it's going to think, okay, fine, I like the way that it is, but I would have, the more I see of it, the more I kind of have a feeling that I think, man, I just wish that Affleck one was filled out and fleshed out more. And apparently in the Flash he is, but we don't know. It's all speculation. It's all rumor basically at the moment, right? So yeah, let's let's move from that, and let's go back to Marvel. We'll talk about the big release there of the week, which is Moon Knight, right? Moon Knight, yeah. So and Moon Knight has caused a lot of discussion on the film forums. From what I've seen on the film forum, that I've made, and also the other ones there as well. Some people liking it, some people not liking it. I do have to say that our podcasts, we have this bit at the end of every single podcast, which is like the end of the X-Men. It's like the X-Men theme tune, and it kind of like it plays us out. But I'm going to change that now, because I've got an even better one, which is Laters Gators, right? And that is going to be the thing from Moon Knight, because the first thing that kind of just I don't know, just for some reason stood out was the accent of Oscar Isaac. And that Latest Gators I found just hilarious, man. So I've been using that all day. Like,
I have to admit, from the trailers, I was like really like, oh, what's going on with this accent? It's too broad, it's too like stereotypical. But watching the show, I just, after 5 minutes, it didn't really bother me at all. I'm sure I've known a few people that talk like that. And plus, it's just one of the personalities, one of the personalities has that voice.
It's not as bad as you kind of think that it's going to be. And I had to say, like, we'll talk about the thing generally, and then we'll talk about little kind of bits that I've noticed, because I looked too deeply into these things there as well. But generally, I thought the aesthetic was quite good. And when I was watching it, some of the CGI was a bit ropey, but when I was actually watching, I was thinking, okay, I'm quite interested in what's actually going on here, because it just seems very different and very kind of like just this hapless guy, basically.
I like that he's a loser. I like he's a loser. Can't get a date. Just everything goes wrong for him.
So all that comparison with, like, people like, oh yeah, Moon Knight is Marvel's Batman. It's like, well, not really, because he is the complete opposite of Bruce Wayne. He's like, you know what I mean? So so we have this thing where a series of events kind of happen. He ends up kind of sleeping and going into different kind of worlds and stuff like that, and we're not quite sure what's going on.
Yeah, is it mental
Times
illness?
change.
Is something more mystical happening that's causing these different voices and him, you know, sleepwalking possibly? You don't know.
Yeah, times change here and there, and you know he ends up having voices kind of speaking to him there as well, and he ends up in this situation where this group of people who worship an ancient Egyptian goddess, I think, basically are chasing after him, and
Yeah, where was that? Was it like Switzerland or somewhere?
yeah, it's weird. So it's kind of like in the mountains in the Alps somewhere, and it's in a place where they really do kind of, you know, they worship this god. Where basically it's kind of like Minority Report. So you kind of get judged about something that you're going to do before you do it.
Well, that's in Egyptian mythology. When you die, that's what happens in mythology. That you go, whatever the god is, I forget the name, and yeah, they weigh your heart. They take your heart out and put it on the scales, and if it tips, you're not worthy. Boom, to hell.
These group of people kind of like chasing him and stuff, and then you end up having you know, different type of personalities kind of coming out and talking to him, and we see the fact that potentially one of his kind of personalities can take over his own body, and that gives him access to certain abilities, basically, right? So you know, for DC people, it's very much like Crazy Jane in Doom Patrol, basically, with the split personalities that all have their own separate powers, basically. So yeah, this is interesting, this show. I mean, I watched it and I was kind of like, okay, I'm not bored, and I'm not kind of like looking away and wanting to stop and, you know, do stuff on my phone or, you know, do whatever. I was actually watching it, like sitting there watching it.
I was really into it because I've never really in detail read Moon Knight, so there's a lot of discovery there. So that kept me interested, but I also love history. I love ancient Egypt and all of you know, the whole mythology of it. So having that added into it just made it so much more interesting for me. And also it's being set over here as well gives it a little bit of a nice little flavor. That kind of makes it a little different than all the other ones, all the other Marvel shows. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of things to tick on this. I'm like, okay, I like Oscar Isaac. Like I said, you know, the accent didn't really bother me after a while. Yeah, I'm into it. I want to see where this goes. And even Ethan Hawke, I wasn't really thinking that he was going to be that interesting, seeing him from the trailers, but seeing his character, how he was, you know, going on and what his angle is and all of this, had me really curious. Like, okay, I want to know what his deal is as well. Like, I'm liking this.
Yeah, I mean, it interested me as well. There were certain things I could kind of see. Like, I don't know. I look way too much into these kind of things there nowadays. So, like, you know, the director, he's become quite kind of prominent over the last kind of, you know, week or so, because he's been saying a lot of stuff about Egypt and things like that. And it's interesting because he was saying about Miss Marvel, he's talking about Black Adam, and talking about
Wonder Woman
as well. And Wonder Woman, I have to agree. And, you know, if you guys don't understand why that scene in the desert is so offensive with Wonder Woman, then yeah, just go onto Google and look up the 2014 Beach Massacre, and then you'll know why that is so horrendously offensive. But it's interesting because I don't know why. You know, last week we were talking about how I've messed up the algorithm.
Yeah.
I've messed up the algorithm on YouTube now as well, because I started watching these I started watching a lot of kind of military videos and stuff because of Ukraine and stuff.
Yeah.
Seeing like what this military's like, what that military's like, and blah blah. And for some reason now I'm getting stuff coming up which is like why this country is positioning its military in one position and blah blah. And one of the things that came up is the beef between Turkey and Egypt. right? And apparently this has been brewing for like 10 years, and I had no idea it was going on. That basically Turkey wants the UN law on maritime. Sorry, guys, this is very boring, but the UN law on maritime is basically that 20 miles outside your border, 12 to 20, well, 20 kilometers, 12 miles outside your border, you're basically allowed to own that part of the sea, basically, right? But around Turkey, there's all these little islands that Greece owns, right? And Turkey hates Greece because they've had multiple wars and blah blah. Also, Turkey wants to have certain islands that are near Egypt, so it also wants that area there as well, because there's a crap load of gas there that basically they want to get, and the amount of gas that is there is more than all of the gas in Russia, right? So if they gain access to that, they suddenly become like the richest country in the world, basically, right? So Egypt and Turkey have been having beef for like the past 10 years. They've both discovered these gas fields, and Egypt and Greece made an alliance to say these are our borders, and Turkey and Libya have made an alliance to say these are our borders. So the reason why this is so funny is because this guy, this director for the past week, has been going on about Egypt this, Egypt that, blah blah. And then when he talks about, you can tell, because when they had in the script, when Ethan Hawke is saying like, oh, there is, imagine if this goddess was around, she could have stopped Hitler and she could have stopped Pol Pot.
Yeah.
And then he talks about the Armenian genocide, right? And I'm like, okay, that's a dig at Turkey, right? Because this guy is basically an Egypt fanatic, because Egyptians, whatever. And one way to get a dig at Turkey is to talk about that in the entire world. Didn't even say like, oh, she could have stopped the slave trade. She could have stopped, I don't know, whatever.
I'm interested because he has been talking a lot about how Egypt's being depicted in other films and stuff, and I'm curious because we haven't got there yet with this. But I'm curious because does he have his own blinders on towards is he his version of Egypt? Is it just going to be Arab Egypt? Are there going to be Coptic Egyptians there? Are there going to be Black African Egyptians there? Like his version of it may not necessarily be that he's been moaning about. Other people depicting it may not be. I'm curious to see whether he.
Yeah, I think he's the way he's talking about it is he's talking about Alexandria and certain parts of Cairo. So some parts of Cairo and Alexandria especially are very green, and they're not desert. They're basically like they're like Dubai basically, right? You got the desert bit, but it's got these massive tower blocks, millionaires live, and it's just like that. So what his argument is basically whenever they show Egypt, they just show like a desert with just like poor people living in the middle of the desert with nothing. And that's basically just the way to kind of show it. So when he was talking about Black Adam, all the stuff in Egypt is nothing to do with that. They filmed it in Australia or something, basically. And when when they had Wonder Woman, it was like Wonder Woman's in Jordan. And the thing is, like, you should never have arguments on the internet. But there was a couple of YouTubers that I kind of like listening to, and they were talking about this, going, "Oh, this guy's an idiot." And stuff. And I was thinking, no, he's not, because it's basically like, these countries get portrayed as crap on a regular basis. You know what I mean? It's like you think about anything, a lot of things are portrayed stereotypically, right? You could think about every Caribbean country is Jamaica, right? Like literally every Caribbean country
on the beach.
Yeah.
People drinking from coconuts.
Exactly, every single one. And it's like, okay, there are lots of other ones. In fact, there are like South American Caribbean countries there as well, but they're never kind of portrayed in that way.
Brazil isn't just favelas.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see the way that they start to portray this kind of stuff. So yeah, I've actually become more of a fan of his because of what he said. it's weird because I never describe myself as anybody who's like woke or anything like that. I'm probably more the opposite, something like that. But the fact of
slept.
yeah,
Slept.
asleep, yeah. But basically, like, you know, if you listen to what this guy is saying, it's bloody true, because, you know, the descriptions and the ways, what I'm looking for is him portraying something authentic. And this is the problem that I have with Miss Marvel, is that Miss Marvel is portraying the way that they want us to behave in the West, right? Because that is like, we want you to be like this. This is our ideal version of you, rather than like, okay, this is the way that you are, and we're going to accept you the way you are and the way where your kind of life is. They will encourage people to kind of, you know, to kind of be like that.
Yeah.
But with this, I'm just hoping maybe there's an authentic.
Well, that's why I'm holding off my opinion on him yet, because I just want to see how he depicts it.
How he depicts it, yeah. Unless he glorifies it to the next level, which is gonna be absolutely crazy, man. So,
but so far, liking what we've got from Moon Knight. It's a shame it was just one. At least give us
that's
two
what I said. I
episodes.
messaged you and I was like, you know, just one, and you're like, yeah, because all the stuff that I'd seen, people had reviewed it at like the first 3 episodes. I was thinking, why are they getting towards the first 3 when it's just like one that is kind of coming out, man? So yeah, bit of an odd one, man. So one guy who seems to be not kind of covering himself in any degree of glory is the Flash, Ezra Miller.
Your Flash, your guy.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and and one of our poor kind of fans on our on the DC podcast Facebook page. Basically, this is why I say I'm not woke, because I'm finding this hilarious. Somebody was like, "Yeah, he went and hit this person and blah blah," and then the other person was like, "They." You need to refer to them as they, right? And I was thinking
to Ezra.
About Ezra, yeah.
That's his. Ezra, okay, so he's got that whole thing.
One of our, you know,
they, them,
somebody else
pronouns.
Yes, to somebody else who had posted on our, on our podcast page. So I didn't say anything. I was just sitting there laughing when I read the comments, because I was thinking, oh god, if I get involved in this or not, it's probably not a good idea.
Never good.
Apparently
they were just singing karaoke, and he just got annoyed and went up there and snatched the mic out of their hands and turned it into some whole thing. It's like, what?
But have you heard the newest one? The
threatening
newest one that I sent you.
Threatening to kill them.
Like, yeah, threatening to kill these people. Basically, apparently, he's stolen credit cards, money, food, and stuff from their house, and is refusing to give it back.
So he knew these people.
Yeah. So what happens is, basically, Ezra Miller went to Hawaii, and he's staying in these people's house. I guess like an Airbnb kind of deal, kind of thing. Yeah. And he's basically threatened to kill them. Apparently, turned up in their bedroom and said to the guy, "I'm going to kill you and your slut wife." You know, like, and basically like stole their credit cards, took their money, took some food from their house, and just disappeared. And he's refused to give it back. Basically, he got arrested and refused to give the stuff back. Dude sounds like he's gone on a crazy bender, basically, right? And this is where unfortunately,
I didn't know it was that bad. I just thought we got into a fight.
Read that article, man. It's crazy. The article is absolutely nuts. I'm actually going to go and read this article now. Look,
this is Warner Brothers. They don't care. They did nothing about her. They'll just put this out and they won't give a damn.
I'm glad that you mentioned Warner Brothers, because I have a little crappy anecdote by somebody who sent us a message that reminds me of, that I need to talk about there at the moment. But let me just talk about this, right? Okay. Right. An unnamed couple from Hawaii recently filed a restraining order against the Flash star Ezra Miller after the actor allegedly threatened them and stole from them. The couple issued a petition for a temporary restraining order, claiming the actor, who was staying with them, threatened to kill them and stole from them. Miller allegedly burst into the couple's room and was quoted as saying, "I will bury you and your slut wife." The order also said Ezra is famous and wealthy and makes access to weapons much easier. He's also been sending associates to harass the couple. He took a wallet, social security card, passport, driver's license, and bank cards and food. And at the time of writing, these items have not been returned to the couple.
What is wrong with him? Why does he do this shit?
This is where my anti-wokeness comes in, because I will say to you that if it was anybody else, they wouldn't be able to get away with it. And the reason is because he's in that protected category of identity.
I don't know. We haven't seen. I don't know. I think just being an actor is enough of a bubble to protect him from this. Because look at everything Bieber got away with for all those years when he was going mad. He got away with a lot.
Yeah, they get away with a lot, but I don't think you could get away with that much.
We'll see with this. This is still ongoing.
They choose their Hollywood darlings, and then that's kind of it.
I don't see Ezra Miller as being that particularly high up on that plateau, though. He's not that famous. He's a recognizable face. He's done a few films, but he's not like a big star, really. So
yeah,
I'm curious to see. This could be the thing that takes his legs out from under him.
Yeah, that's true. So just because you mentioned Warner Brothers, I totally forgot about a message that had also been sent to us by a guy called Jeff, who basically messaged from the film forum that I'm in, and has said, "Have you heard all the stuff that is going on with the movie called the Nan movie?"
Called the what?
It's the Nan movie.
The Nan.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it in a second. Look into it, because it is a lot like all the stuff that happened at Warner Brothers with Zack Snyder, right? So I'm like, what the hell is this about? So there was a character in the UK, guys from around the world, you probably won't know who this is, but basically you can look it up. There's an actress who basically, what she does is she does a number of different kind of characters. One of them was like the Nan, another one was like am I bothered?
Oh, that chick.
That one.
Oh,
yeah. Her.
She
was one of the characters was the Nan. Yeah, one of the characters was the Nan, and the Nan would just say, "Oh, what a liberty, like that." Yeah. So they made a movie about this, right? They basically made a movie about this, and I went and watched the trailer, which is horrifically bad anyway, but it's basically like about this old lady who is really not doesn't behave like an 8-year-old lady should. She's kind of like a little bit kind of rude and all that kind of stuff. And it's like a road movie basically. So they're going around and getting into different kind of activities and stuff like that. The interesting thing is it has no director credit on it. There's no director attributed to this movie, right? So I read into this, basically what had happened with this. So apparently this movie was meant to come out 2 years ago, the same time that Morbius is meant to come out. And what happened was that the director, who is a director who makes a lot of art house kind of films, he made this movie, the Nan movie, and pretty much the entire movie occurred in the past when she was young, and it was basically based on her when she was young and what kind of stuff she got up to, why she's become the person that she is. And it was a contemporary kind of an older kind of period piece, right? So that was basically what it was. And then Warner Brothers watched it and were like, what the hell is this? And got rid of the person, and then basically reshot almost the entire film, right? So that it basically occurs 90% in the modern day.
So it's just the old woman,
Yeah, so basically what it was meant to be was like the story of the new one is that there's this old woman, she's going to visit her sister who's dying, and the reason why she hasn't seen her sister in like 40 years is basically because her sister took the man that she was going to marry away from her in the 40s, some American GI kind of guy, right? And pretty much the entire movie occurred in that time. So what they've done is that they've got people to like reshoot certain bits and kind of, you know, hash all this stuff there together. And apparently, from I went and then watched Mark Kermo's review on this movie, and he goes, "This film is yeah, he goes, this movie is an absolute mess. It's like literally looks like they've just got scenes just like packed together. The narrative flows all over the place. It's like you know, the pacing is horrendous. It's just like really, really bad overall. And and the funny thing is, right, is that the original budget for this film was like 48 million or something, and the reshoot pushed it into 100.
Wow. That is nuts. That
right?
is so crazy.
Now to date, because I had to look at it on you know, on Box Office Mojo, that to date this film, which has now been out like over a week in the UK, and it's never going to come out anywhere else.
Heard of it.
Nobody knows what it is. Has made a total of 4.3 million, right?
Cool.
So as a bare minimum, that film has lost 95 million.
Whoever greenlit it in the first place, even if it was the original version, it weren't going to make its money back. That character was never that famous. Maybe 15 years ago, that was when that woman was doing all of that stuff. Like, why is they making a movie now?
So thanks to Jeff for making me jump down the rabbit hole of that, because I just thought the whole thing was hilarious. Typical Warner Brothers, they're just like, we don't like this, let's reshoot the whole thing, let's spend a whole load of money, get rid of the director so there's no director credit on it. I would have laughed even more if it said filmed by Joss Whedon underneath that. They should just got him in and refilmed the damn movie. That would have been even more classic, man. So yeah.
Man. When is that sale going through with Discovery? Because that's that. They just got to get that going, man. That's the only way to save.
That's the only way to. That's the only way really to save it, man. So, yeah.
The Ezra, he's a mess. He's done. Well, he should be done. But
he should be, because it's just like, do you know what? One thing I can't understand the Ezra thing, because I can understand Ben Affleck as Batman. I can understand Henry Cavill as Superman. I can even understand Jason Momoa as Aquaman and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Even though I'm kind of, it's not really Wonder Woman, it's not really Aquaman. I can still understand it. Ezra Miller as the Flash, I cannot understand it under any kind of. It's not even. He's not even like. Because people say, oh, he's not like Barry Allen, he's more like Wally West. He's not even like Wally West. He's more like Bart Allen. He's more like, you know, like Impulse, or he's more you know, he's more like one of those characters. And I kind of just think, who the hell said, oh yeah,
Zack Snyder.
Barry Allen, that's the but that's what I'm saying. Like, Zack generally is all right in his casting, right? But then it's like,
but his interpretation of a lot of these characters is very different from the way they really are in the books, or how most people see them. He has his own version of how Superman is, how Flash is, how Batman is. This is how he sees the Flash.
Yeah, and seeing the Flash like that is just weird. So I don't know, and it makes me laugh, because then I kind of think, okay, number one, is this film ever going to come out? Because him on the press tour is also in trouble. And then secondly, if it does, is it going to go anywhere? Because is this guy going to self-destruct before any sequels?
It's like, yeah, they've finished it now, so they have to pull it out. They spend way too much money on it now. It's been delayed so long. You got Michael Keaton. Just that alone is the reason why this has to come out. Just having Michael Keaton back as Batman, it's like, you can't waste that. You can't waste that.
Yeah, they can't, but somehow they'll work a way to mess it up there.
Throw it on HBO Max, man. Just throw it on there.
Yeah.
Be done with it.
final bit of news that we have is if you guys have seen Halo, there's an actor in there called Pablo Schreiber. You probably don't know him from the name, but if you saw the picture, you'd be like, "Oh, that guy," because he's in everything,
all over
right?
the place, man.
He's all over the place.
He's a good actor. He's a good actor.
He is a decent actor, yeah. And basically, he is apparently has said that he's had some talks with Marvel about Wolverine. Now, from what I remember, he's a big dude, right? He's like 6 foot plus, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not going to get a midget Wolverine anytime.
I said it on here, man. We're not going backwards. You can't after Jackman. It just be normal people, most regular people can't accept a 5'5" hairy round man as Wolverine, man. They want the giant because that's what they're used to.
Yeah, this is the thing. People say, "Oh, we want representation. We want this person on screen. We want that person." But you don't want a short hairy dude on screen, do you? That's the thing. Short hairy dudes need their need like a focus group that could basically go in and start lobbying and saying we are underrepresented. We are underrepresented.
No, redheads need that because they're really getting screwed. Every time redhead characters come into a movie, they completely get the race change. Their hair gets shit or they'll just get someone who's blonde and then dyes their hair. Like they just can't get their own. They can't get casted. It's weird.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So yeah, I mean something like this. Do you think? Could you see this guy as Wolverine?
Thing is, he has the look, but like I mentioned when we were talking in the chat, it's like he's too old now at this point to start. It would have been great if he was like 10 years younger, in his early 30s. I think that's a good age to start Wolverine. But this guy's already like 42 or 43. So where are you going to go from that point on, man? So he's in great shape now, but you got to think of the long term of how many movies they're going to need him for. And yeah, even Jackman, when he was getting into his 40s, was saying that, I'm getting to the point where I need to hang this up. And he kept it going until his late 40s, I think.
But I guess they've got 50-year-old Blade, right? So
he's another one. That was the issue. Like, I love the actor. He's an amazing actor, but he is too old. It's just age is a thing. I don't care what people say. Age is nothing number. It's all CG. No, you still need to do some of it. And no.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I watched Ambulance day before yesterday, and I was just seeing Jake Gyllenhaal in it. I was thinking, man, I wish they didn't kill this guy off in Spider-Man because he's somebody who could have been like, part of the villains gallery for like quite a long time to come, man. I think he's definitely got legs as being an actor.
I don't think he's done. I think he'll pop up again.
I think we'll kind of see. So there was some news about She-Hulk, but we don't. This is the thing, man. You can speculate on rumors all day long. If we speculated on rumors that came out of Reddit, you'd be here for 17 hours kind of talking about stuff. So apparently there are some issues with She-Hulk, but are there? I don't know. We'll basically have to see, obviously, when when trailers and things come out. It's probably going to come out at the same time as Avatar 2 trailer comes. So we'll see, obviously, what happens there with that. So guys, we didn't see Superman and Lois there yet. Superman and Lois actually came out today, so we'll be reviewing that there next time. However, what did you think of Moonlight? Let us know. Thanks for the messages that we received there before, even though they were kind of slightly off the cuff there as well. Is interesting for me to go down a rabbit hole with those there as well. If you have any comments or messages there about the subject in today's show, you can email us at dcvsmarvelpod@gmail.com, or you can go to the Facebook page, which is DCVS Marvel Podcast, where all the stuff is going down, especially the Ezra Miller chat, which you guys should get into. If you want to listen to Ed about more of the movies and stuff there, then you can catch it on the other podcast
on Talking at the Movies, part of Voltron Network. Don't forget, Voltron on YouTube as well to see the video version of this. And apologies, guys, for the sound. We're gonna fix it for the next time.
Yeah, I will fix it. I'll get some proper headphones there again that haven't come off, AliExpress. but yeah, sorry about that. And I keep forgetting to put the YouTube stuff off on the Facebook page. I need to keep doing it. So once I did it for a while, we'll get more views on it. So I will do it there again. And make sure that stuff is on there. Until then, guys, laters gators.
Yeah.